How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I am really excited because I just bought a new company. It's one that I've been sleeping on, and I don't want you to make the same mistake I did. This is a company that's growing at about 80% a year right now. It is one that you've probably heard of, but it's been up and down recently. It was a SPAC that came public just this year, and right now it is down a little bit from its highs. It's a really exciting company that is in a very growing market, and you've heard of some of its competitors, but it's at a much better valuation, I believe, than its two biggest competitors that you've probably heard of, at least in the stock market. A lot of people are looking at these two companies. So I want you to make sure that you stay through to the end because I have some information too. I actually went out and researched their products, and there's some interesting things that I found about it. So I want to talk to you about that too. Again, very excited about this one. This one will be a long-term hold for me. And I see it being a long-term hold for 5 to 10 years at least. So definitely check out this stock. Before we get into it, if you guys want to, you can definitely hit subscribe to the channel down there. We're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. I'd love to get there by the end of the week. That would be awesome. I mean, that's a huge goal to hit. So if you want to help us along the way, that'd be awesome. Also, if you want to know exactly what I'm buying and selling, I actually sold 5 different companies today. I'll probably make a video on it tomorrow. Just don't have the time to do it today because I wanted to make this one quick because this stock is down about 4.5% today. But if you want to know exactly what stocks I sold and why I sold them, you can check out the link down below to Patreon. Otherwise, just stay in the loop because I will update you eventually on that. Also, if you guys want, you can get 4 free stocks through WeBull. They extended this longer, so you can deposit $100 and get 4 free stocks. You can get shares of Google. I just heard of someone on YouTube that got a share of Google the other day at $1,800. So definitely check out the link down below. So this company is Tattooed Chef. Now, before you click off, because I know some people, right when they hear a company, they're like, oh, I've heard about that one, or I'm not interested in that one. Stay with me here because I was thinking the same thing. A lot of these different companies like Beyond Meat, Tattooed Chef, very good food company, I wasn't interested in because honestly, I love meat. Like I love meat more than just about anyone I know. Now, I like all different kinds, and just the thought of investing in a company that's going to produce something that's a meat alternative did not make sense to me. But I started thinking about it, and it strikes me similar to what EV has been recently. So electric vehicles. If you had asked anyone 10, 15, 20 years ago if they would buy an electric vehicle, they probably would have said no, right? I mean, you thought of like a Prius or some hybrid or some other vehicle that's just like a much worse version of a typical vehicle or an ICE vehicle. But I think over time, there have been companies that have made EV cool. They've made the product really, really well. And honestly, now it's cool to have an electric vehicle. The performance is there. You're doing something good for the environment, but that's not necessarily the number one thing. I mean, they've been able to bring the cost down so it's competitive at least with typical ICE vehicles. But the thing is, you're doing a good thing, but you're doing it because it's cool and because it's affordable now and because you can't really tell the difference. Like, you can tell the difference between an electric and an ICE vehicle, but it's not as noticeable as it was before. The performance is there. It's not like you're a tree hugger anymore. So I kind of think of organic foods or plant-based foods, I should say, in a similar way. If I had an alternative to meat that tasted the same, was just as cost-effective, and actually was healthier for me, I mean, I'd do that, right? I mean, just like anything else in life, if you can't tell the difference and it's better for you, you'll probably do it, right? So if I told you that you could have something that had the same calories as water but tasted like any kind of drink you wanted, you'd probably take that, right? So same thing with Beyond Meat and Tattooed Chef and Very Good Food Company. Now, the whole market is expected to grow a lot. So it's expected to grow to $74.2 billion by 2027 with a compounded annual growth rate of about 12%. Now, Tattooed Chef right now, I believe, is the best option. Now, I will say, part of how I heard about this company and started to actually think about it was from a Meet Kevin video a few days ago. But from there, I did all my own research, and they just had an investor presentation today, and the stock is down a little bit, but I don't think there was anything wrong with the investor presentation. If anything, for me, it made me more comfortable with the company. They're talking about possibly getting some acquisitions, and mostly just so that they can scale up. They're not really looking for the brands for whatever companies they acquired. They're mostly looking for the potential to produce more. So right now, this company already works with a lot of big brands. So they work with Target, Walmart, Costco, and Sam's Club, and they've been doing a lot of private labeling over the years. So since 2003, they've done something called private labeling, which is where they actually sell the product to that company, and then that company puts on their label. They don't have to produce the product themselves. I mean, this is what Costco does, right? So Costco doesn't make all their own products. They source it from other places, and then they slap on their brands, but people look for Costco brands now. So they've been doing this for a long time. They have a good track record, but now they have their own brand. So I'll explain why this is better than Beyond Meat or than Very Good Food Company in my eyes towards the end. But just looking at the stock now, it is down a little bit, like I said, but I think that's because there was a lot of hype built up to this. It has been up a lot just in the last week or so. It went up about 36%. But looking at their investor presentation, take a look at their net sales in millions. So in 2009, 2.1 million, then 4.4, went up to 10.9. Look at the last few years here. It's growing exponentially. Now, they have a huge growth rate from last year. I believe it's right around 71% or something. And they're growing their own brands a lot. So before, they only had a lot of private labels. So you can see here back in 2017, about 93% was private labeled. Now it's going down. So this is what we want to see. We actually want to see them be able to increase their own brand. So their branded amount for next year, they expect to be about 63% of revenue. Now this year, they're expecting branded to actually beat private label, which is awesome. Again, this is much more scalable. They have the ability to grow their brand, but the private label still provides some good cash flow, so I think they'll still continue to do this. But again, they're expecting $222 million in revenue next year, which is a huge amount of growth. Now, just from their presentation today, they did say that they're going to get into other kinds of food. So right now, they have a lot of different foods that you'd probably recognize. They have like cauliflower mac and cheese. They have pizza. They have burgers. Of course, all vegetarian and all plant-based. But they're expecting to get into dry foods too. So they're expecting to move outside of the freezer section, which I think will be pretty big for them too, when they can actually move into desserts. They've talked about moving into desserts today. I think that will be really interesting. They do have a good amount of cash on their balance sheet too, which will take them for a while. They said that they're only at 50% capacity for their factories. They don't want to obviously push further than they'll actually be able to sell, because that just doesn't make sense. But I want to talk about what I did today. So I wanted to actually try out some of their products. I looked it up. There's a Walmart and a Target next to me. I went to both of them, and there was no sign of Tattooed Chef. Now, I really wanted to try out their product just to see how good it was. It seems really good. I've seen reviews. I've looked at reviews. It's been rated really high. Even on Walmart, you can see 24 ratings, 4.7 stars. But I couldn't find any sign of it. So I was looking even for like tags on shelves. I went to the organic food section. I could not find it for the life of me. Now, usually I would not like that, because first of all, I can't try the product. Second of all, it tells me that they're not even in my location. But I started to think about it a little bit more, that they are supposed to be at Walmart and Target, and yet they're not at my locations. So what does that tell me? That tells me that they aren't even at all the stores they have contracts through. So that tells me that they have a lot more room to grow. So again, we're expecting big revenue next year, but that tells me that they aren't even at all the locations that they could be at, even with the reach that they have now, and even with the partnerships that they have now. So I am really excited to try this product. I will be on the lookout. I probably will drive to more locations just to try to find it. But I bought shares of it today because I'm so bullish on this company. Now, if you want to know exactly how much I bought, you can check out the Patreon. But The reason that I bought this company as opposed to one of these other companies like Beyond Meat or Very Good Food Company is because of their price to sales ratio. So with these companies, it's really hard to take a look at their PE ratios because a lot of them reinvest back into the company. They spend their money because they want to grow instead of PE ratios. I look at price to sales ratios. Beyond Meat has a market cap, and this is all in millions here. Beyond Meat has a market cap of $8.5 billion. It's probably the most well known out of this group. They have sales though of about $679 million next year. So this is expected sales in 2021. Tattooed Chef only has a market cap of $1.27 billion, but has about a third of the sales expected next year. And then Very Good Food Company has been getting a lot of press recently. They are growing pretty quickly, but that's because they only have $11.6 million in expected revenue next year. And they have a market cap around $500 million. So this puts their price to sales ratios vastly different. So Tattooed Chef is sitting below a 6, Beyond Meat over 12, and then Very Good Food Company over 40. Now, of course, Very Good Food Company is growing a little bit faster. Tattooed Chef is in the middle of size and of growth rates because Beyond Meat probably won't grow as quickly as Tattooed Chef. That being said, though, there is some extra risk when you go with these smaller market caps. So for me to be able to buy a company like Tattooed Chef that they are already at a pretty good price to sales ratio comparatively, and they're a little bit bigger than Very Good Food Company. They have a better established brand. They've been around a long time. I really like that. Now, I plan on buying more. If it drops, I'll probably buy more anyways. So I was actually excited. I was getting geeked when it fell about 3 or 4% right after I bought it. So I bought it right around $20 a share. I was really excited to see it drop because I want to buy more. It fell to about $19.50 after I did that, after I bought it. But I plan on buying more, like I said. Now, again, this is going to be a very long-term hold for me. I expect them to continue to grow. They expect the revenues to get much higher into the $1 billion range eventually. And again, I really like the forward outlook for this company. I like the valuation. I like what they're doing. I like how they're expanding. I like the cash that they have on hand. There's a lot that I like about this company. And I'll be honest with you. Again, if you want to check out like the links to WeBull and Patreon, definitely check those out. But I want to give a shout out to Emmanuel Finance. He is a British YouTuber or UK YouTuber, and he does not get enough press, or he doesn't get enough views for what he does. His videos are really high quality, and he covers Tattooed Chef a lot. He's a really smart guy too. I've talked to him a good amount, but because he's in the UK, he doesn't get as many viewers or as many subscribers. They're also not into stock as much as we are here in the US. So after you check out the link down to Webull or Patreon, or maybe you're in both of those already, and after you hit the like button, you should definitely check out his channel. I'll put it down there too. Definitely check him out. I don't think he gets enough views. I mean, he has a very professional setup too, and he's a really smart guy. So he was nice enough to put up the presentation for Investor Day for Tattooed Chef. So I appreciate that too. It was a lot easier just to click on his channel when it popped up than to go to their website and find it. And thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Tattooed Chef in the comments below. Please don't be like me. Please don't just not take a look at it because of ignorance or something like that. I'm not saying that you are ignorant, but I know for a fact I was, because I like meat so much. I just didn't even care about plant-based companies. It just didn't make sense to me. But to see their growth rate, to see the kind of opportunity that they have to grow, it's quite amazing. I mean, again, if you can buy something that's really good for you, that is no different, you can't tell a difference between that and the real thing, you might as well go for it. So definitely check out his channel. Thank you for checking out those links below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.